unlimited blade works.
What's up, you guys? It's Silverfang, and today I'm gonna be doing another video. This is gonna be the part 2 of a video I did recently called Guardian Emiya Explained. So this is pretty much, he's gonna go over this from a channel called Annie News. If you guys know about him, I like the style of his videos. They're pretty good, and this is gonna be part 2. I think he's gonna go more over the powers here because he did like all the lore back in the first part, so I reacted to that. So you guys might want to go check that out and then come watch this video. So this is Guardian Emiya's powers. Pretty much this is gonna be pretty interesting. I think I know all his powers, but I may be wrong. He might surprise me, so let's go. But before we get started with today's video though, please, if you like my content, hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a lot. Also, at the moment I'm trying to reach 200 subs by the end of the month, so if you guys could please help me out with that, I will really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and without further ado, let's just pretty much go into the video.
And we're back, talking about the counter guardian turned heroic spirit Shiro Emiya. Now let's get into how strong this man really is. He's not your run-of-the-mill servant though.
Super strong.
Contrary to what you may think, he actually doesn't possess any noble phantasms that he can call his own. Instead, he has a reality marble called Unlimited Blade Works.
I don't know, to me reality marbles are,
it's referred to as a high-class thumb.
at least the ones that I've seen are a lot better.
And that becomes a reflection of his inner self
overall.
Of a bounded field.
Of course,
Meaning
there are exceptions, but overall I feel like they're a lot better.
Completely different from each other, as they're a representation of their state of mind, molded by how they've experienced life and how they view the world. To the average viewer, it's a minor detail to notice, but it holds a lot of meaning. If you compared pre-heroic spirit Shiro's to counter Guardian Emiya's, you'll notice how grim Emiya's is. It's described as being enveloped by a thick haze formed from embers of black smog rising from the ground. The world is littered with weapons and flames, and giant gears fill the sky as if to represent his feelings of helplessness. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I mean, I didn't know that, but
it's like
the fact that they're creating it makes a lot of sense. That their state of
rather than being a hero,
their state of mind
on the
would
other hand is much more vibrant. It's described as
play
being
into how the
sun
space
shines
looks.
through and clouds sparsely fill the sky. This Shiro still believes in the goals and ideals that are worth fighting for. It's a much more hopeful state of mind. Also, apparently Alter Shiro's is much cloudier because he's a bit more corrupted, and then Miyuverse Shiro's is snowy since he's only focused on saving a single person. It's a nice visual representation to show the contrast between how each Shiro feels about themselves. But anyway, this is Shiro's magecraft, his one and only specialization. As someone who's actually merged with a sword and has dedicated his life to acting as one, it's a magic that fits him perfectly. As you already know though, in order for the bounded field to be activated, he must first chant his incantation. Though they start off the same, the incantation for Shiro and Archer Emiya are both different from each other. Emiya's has a much more dread tone to it, referring to his existence as a counter guardian as a fruitless one. Shiro, on the other hand, focuses on his determination to become a hero of justice by dedicating himself to this magecraft. Just by reading from the 4th line onward, you can sense the strength in his ideals that will eventually lead him down the path of despair. I wonder at what point as a counter guardian does he decide to change his incantation. It's like that would be the moment that you could pinpoint Shiro's realization of regret on the path that he chose. Now that the logistics have been explained, what does this reality marble actually do? Other than act as the #1 counter to Gilgamesh's Gate of Babylon, as the name dictates, it's literally a collection of an unlimited.
I feel probably after the 3rd time
Shiro basically works like a human
maybe after even the first time he killed like 1,000,000 people at once.
Across, whether it be a basic sword or a noble phantasm, their history, design,
like, I think that'll be the point where Shiro breaks down and like
all Emiya needs to do is simply glance in the direction of a weapon, then he can immediately reproduce and project it. Once it has been projected, it will be stored forever in the reality marble, allowing for him to
that's really that's dope.
There are a few limitations to this ability though. Like, Emiya can't just look at the specs for a conceptual sword and then make it in reality. The marble relies on his physical senses to provide the information necessary to reproduce it. Now, I know what you're thinking. This has got to be one of the strongest abilities that a servant has.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm honestly thinking so too. All this man needs to do is just look at your weapon, literally any weapon, and then it's his.
Well,
along
not
with all
any
the
weapon.
combat skills and techniques that come with mastering it. However, as
He
overpowered
can't
as
copy
unlimited
Aya
blade works may
from
seem,
Gilgamesh.
these weapons are still just copies of the original, meaning that they'll never quite be at
So
the
maybe
same
like
strength as
anything
the
that's
originals
god
due to the
godly
inability
or
to fully
divine
conceptualize
weapon,
a
maybe
weapon through only
those things he
sense.
can't copy
So,
because
if Shiro
he
had to
doesn't know
fight
what
the
it's made
original
of,
owner of a noble phantasm that he copied,
or he
with
can't
that
trace
same
what it's
noble
made of.
phantasm, then he'd probably lose. Avalon is the only known weapon that he can perfectly project since it existed within him for a period of time.
That's
The
strong
reality
enough.
marble
Like
also
the
doesn't
fact
need
that you're able
activate
to
the bounded
project
field in order for projections to be made. Weapons can be summoned from unlimited blade works
something that
directly to
heals
his
you
hands
almost
or even
instantly,
fired as projectiles
that's
at
pretty
any moment.
strong.
This is why Shiro is such a good counter to Gilgamesh. Even though Gilgamesh has a seemingly infinite supply of weapons in his treasury, Shiro can just recognize the exact same weapons as Gil and fire them right back. Although it takes a bit of time in the real world to produce a weapon from the reality marble, while in the unlimited blade works, all the weapons are already there in physical form, giving
That's
Shiro
cool.
the upper hand since he can summon his weapons faster. It's simply a matter of choosing, then they'll instantly appear either in his hand or ready to be shot in a massive barrage. A few examples of some notable noble phantasms that are within unlimited blade works are Saber's Avalon, Caliburn and Excalibur, Gawain's Excalibur, Ku's Gay Bolg, Hero's
Damn.
Istis Estis,
So
Hercules'
many?
9 Lives, Medea's Rule Breaker, Isis' Ro Ias, and a whole bunch more, especially from Gilgamesh's arsenal. So it's pretty crazy to think that Shiro can just use these whenever he wants. It's not
For
like it's
real.
even a jack of all trades, master of none type situation. He can bring out the full potential of the weapon, it's just not as strong as the original. Now you'd think
Gotcha.
that'd be
I mean,
everything,
it is a
but
copy.
there's still more to this reality marvel. There's a weird interaction that happens between Avalon and Unlimited Blade Works when Shiro gets injured. Instead of the normal accelerated regeneration, Shiro's wounds are healed by, and I quote, changing his muscles into blades in order to knit his wounds with swords. Yep, he literally gets healed by self-stitching swords when he's injured. They
Really?
take the place of his old muscle fibers and reinforce the body.
Oh,
which
wow,
is
that's
a pretty useful
crazy.
ability to have, but
That
could
sounds
also be
painful, though.
considered a double-edged sword. It may be pretty helpful at first, especially for minor injuries, but if the marble's sword healing, yeah, I made that up, if it's pushed too far, it can very well overwhelm Shiro and prove fatal. Alright, so that's his special.
Yeah, it sounds
but
painful
he
as
also has
hell.
a bunch of other miscellaneous things that makes him even stronger. For one, his cloak and mantle are conceptual weapons that actively resist negative effects in his surroundings. His lack of
Oh,
fame as a
really?
hero makes him an unknown existence to other servants. He can
Also-
reinforce any of the weapons he projects.
Oh, so
by
that's why
filling
he has
openings
like some
under and charging with
anti-magic
magical
resistance.
energy. The reinforcement
I remember
boosts
they
the
mentioning that
weapon's
in
purpose and
Unlimited Blade
resistance.
Works.
So in Emiya's case, it would be to make them sharper, stronger, and more durable.
Yeah,
It
that
is
was
through
like
this
the
filling
first
of
thing he
magical
trained
energy
in.
that Shiro can also bring a noble phantasm back to its true strength by using it as a broken phantasm. He essentially packs as much magical energy into the weapon as possible, resulting in an unstable creation that will detonate on first impact. This is especially favorable for Emiya since none of his noble phantasms are actually his. For a normal servant, if they were to activate their noble phantasm as a broken one, it would exceed its normal strength, but also be destroyed after that one use. Whereas Shiro
Oh,
can
I
just
get it.
constantly
You could
recreate
just
it over and over again,
recreate it.
given that he
Gotcha.
has enough magical energy. Then there's his trusty twin swords, Kensho and Bakuya. The weaponized representations
Yo,
of
those
yin and
blades
yang.
look
There's
badass,
a whole
bro.
story around the origin of these swords, but I think what's more important is what they symbolize.
I wonder who was the
They're
original
essentially
user
swords
of
that
them.
have no purpose. They were created for the sake of creating something and were not meant to be better than any other weapon or become wielded by a hero. These
Not
swords
meant to be
practically
better, bro.
embody
Those swords are
Counter-Guardian Shiro's
crazy
current
as
beliefs.
fuck.
They both don't have the will to do anything. They're just sort of there, existing for eternity, and waiting to be used. It could just be a coincidence that they ended up pairing up with each other after Emiya having come across
Those swords
them
are
at some point
crazy,
in his
though.
life, but Shiro chooses to fight with them not because of what they represent, but because he finds their craftsmanship to be very much appealing. The swords are also well suited to the way that he fights. They are noble phantasms on their own, but not very strong ones when compared to others. They increase magic and physical resistance, as well as have a natural attraction to each other. So if one was thrown while the other is being held, the thrown one
Yeah, I
will return
remember
and boom.
that, but
They can also
I
be
didn't know that
modified
they had
into long
that they
swords
had
with some reinforcement magic.
magical
or my personal favorite,
resistance.
bayoneted
So that's
hand
even
weapons with a spongy
more
version.
resistance
he can
to
also
magic.
project more than 25 pairs at a time and just overwhelm
That's why
you
he
with
was
the
able
sheer
to
number of
escape
swords.
from
But his go-to move is called the triple-linked
Caster's
crane
Time
wings,
Freeze
where he only
and
summons 3
Unlimited
pairs
Blade
and
Works.
uses a combination of long-range projectiles and close-quarter strikes to cover every angle and make it impossible for his 3-pronged attack to miss.
Yeah, bro, like,
It's
yo,
a
that's
move
a
you'd
crazy
expect from
combo.
someone
You know
who's
how
had all the
much you will have to
ability
train
hone
to
those
do
skills.
something like that, bro?
Imagine if he did this with some of the more powerful noble phantasms in his arsenal. Now, that'd be something to see, but we don't want to make him too OP. Now, in case you forgot, he is still an archer, and he does have a bow, but it's his own original weapon. He crafted it himself to be just strong enough to fire
that's
noble
nice.
phantasms or broken phantasms.
The fact that he crafted
uses
it
in
himself.
combination with clairvoyance, aka Hawkeye, to perform ultra long-range sniping. His range that provides pinpoint accuracy is 4 kilometers, regardless of whether the target is moving or not. He can even fire a single arrow that
So
can
is
then
that his
also
own
towards
ability,
the
or
air
that's
so
one
that
of
it strikes 2 people at once. As for
Lancers?
his magecraft,
I mean,
we already know
the
about his
archer class
reinforcement and
abilities.
projection magic, but he also has magic detection and magic resistance, though it's very weak. When up against a caster, any high tier
So he
spell
has
will
even
fail
more
if
magic
they hit him
resistance.
directly. Even if he did have the increased magic resistance from Kansho and Bakuya, it'd still do severe damage. And finally,
Plus
there's
the
the
cloak.
basic skills like Eye of the Mind, which refers to Shiro's ability to observe and analyze a situation so that he can predict his
Yo, those
opponent's
abilities are
moves,
perfect
as
for
well as
an
the
archer.
independent action skill, which refers to his ability to survive without constant support from his master. And that, my friends, is Archer Emiya in a nutshell. A very lengthy nutshell. Honestly, now that I understand who he is and what he's capable of a bit more, I think I have a greater appreciation for him as a character. There's certainly
I loved him as a character from the first
and though he
moment
may
that,
not be our first thought as
from
one
the
of more
first
powerful
time I watched
servants, I think he can
Fate,
hold his own in that upper
that was
echelon.
way
Anyway,
back when.
thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to vote in the community poll for the servant that you want covered next. But as always, if you enjoyed this type of anime content, then you don't need me to tell you what to do.
Sorry, guys.
So until next time, ciao.
Okay, so that was pretty interesting. That was really interesting. So if you guys don't know, I got into Fate seriously like 2 months ago, but the first time that I watched First Day Night, and I remember not finishing it, but I watched the original Stay Night, like I think maybe a couple years ago. I saw the original Stay Night, and I don't think I finished it, honestly, but as soon as I saw this character, I liked him immediately. Like, which fight was it that I saw? I think I saw up to the fight with Hercules where he died, and I liked him immediately. And then a few months ago, then I watched Zero, and then you guys know the story from there on out. But yeah, I like this guy from way back when. So this is a very interesting video for me. So the first thing you mentioned was that normal Shiro and Archer Emiya's reality marble looks different because of their state of mind, and that actually makes a lot of sense. If you're creating a world, it makes sense that how you feel would affect it. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of Bleach. I don't know if you guys seen Bleach, but the thing is, like, Ichigo has an inner world that he can visit from time to time, and the thing is that the weather in that world changes depending on how he's feeling and his state of mind. So that makes a lot of sense that the reality marble would change depending on Shiro's or Archer Emiya's state of mind. Also, he mentioned that the incantation for their reality marbles is different as well, so that might also create a change in the physical shape of the world. Now, that was pretty interesting. The next thing he mentioned also was the fact that he has sword. He called it sword healing, and he did say he made that up, so that's not an official name for it. So basically, is since he has Abalon in his reality marble, and Abalon has the power to heal wounds, so what ends up happening is that it heals his wounds, but by creating miniature swords to stitch his wounds. That sounds painful. That sounds really painful though. Like, and I don't know if that will be able to heal like major wounds. Like let's say you get like a huge gash all over your abdomen. Would that be able to heal that too? Because you would need like a bunch of freaking swords, man, to heal that. I don't know if there's a limit to it. Maybe it's if he runs out of mana, he won't be able to heal it anymore. I'm not sure how it works. He didn't really go into that much detail. He didn't say or didn't specify if that would actually heal like major wounds. I'm not talking like about a scratch like the one that he showed. I'm talking about like really big wounds, like a gash, or you know, something of that nature. The next thing he mentioned was he went into the noble phantasms that he could use, and god damn, Shiro has a whole bunch of freaking noble phantasms that he should be able to use, like freaking gay bulk, all the Excaliburs, like Caliber and Excalibur, all the Excaliburs. He has Nero's her sword too. Like, he has a whole bunch, and plus all the noble phantasms that he's copied from Gilgamesh, which I don't know which one they are because Gilgamesh doesn't specify. He just throws them. So yeah, so that's really nice. That's really nice. Also the tracing, that's pretty interesting, because I was talking to somebody yesterday and they were telling me that and they did state this in the anime. They did state this, but pretty much projection magic is pretty much useless in the normal world of magecraft. So pretty much everybody knows about it, but nobody actually uses it. They find it pretty useless, whatever. But Shiro was able to create this whole new form of magic called tracing, and where he can track everything that a weapon or an object is made out of and copy it instantly. So that's really interesting, and that's what pretty much makes his whole projection magic so much better. And I think that comes from his years and years and years of training with reinforcement magic, where he has to see he basically unconsciously developed the ability to immediately detect what an object is made of based on that training. So basically what he used to do was he'll take a random object and try to make it better, try to reinforce it, and in that way at the same time he was able to figure out, and they pretty much stated this like in the first episode I think of the anime, when he was fixing that error. I think it was a heater for the school, where he can pretty much, when he tries to reinforce it, he can pretty much trace what the object is, everything that the object is made of and how it works. So that's pretty interesting, and that's what makes his projection magic so much better than everybody else. Plus, after he projects an object that he already traced, then he can reinforce it to make it even stronger than what it is, than what he made it already. But even though they still said that even though he's reinforcing it, it's not as strong as the original Noble Phantasm, which is kind of weird, because if he's making almost a perfect copy, correct? If he's almost making a perfect copy and then he reinforces that copy, it should be at least as good as the original or better, I would assume. But he said that it wasn't. Basically he said if he used a Noble Phantasm that he copied from someone else, and they both have the same level of skill using it, then he will pretty much lose. So that's kind of weird to me, because if he's creating it to almost a perfect copy and then reinforcing it, that will tell me that will make it almost as good, as good as the original or better than the original. So that's a little shaky. Also, he went into his abilities. Eye of the Mind. I feel like that's his his most useful ability, just because if you see his profile on Fate Grand Order, the mobile game, his speed is average. I think is either B rank or C rank. I don't remember. I think it's B rank. I'll say B rank, but if it's C rank, then whatever. But the fact of the matter is that he's able to fight with servants like Lancer, who has A class agility, and like Kojiro Sakaki, who I think has an A+ agility, which is crazy. So he's able to fight with them because of his Eye of the Mind, which can pretty much make him perceive movement faster. So that's pretty dope. Like it helps him make up for his lack of speed, which is amazing. It's pretty much like he has A+ agility. So that's dope. I think that's his most useful ability. He also mentioned that he has magic resistance, which is awesome. And he has like a couple ways. So he has the two swords, I think is Bakuya and Gacha. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce those. So he has those two who provide him with a little of magic resistance. Then he has his robes that nullify negative effects. So that's also amazing. And he also has an ability as a servant that also provides him with magic resistance, which is awesome too. So he's pretty much, he's not immune to magic because he can get affected by magic, but he can resist it on a higher level than I think most other servants. Cause I think the caster from Unlimited Blade Works, I think she was pretty damn strong as a caster. I haven't checked her profile yet, but the way that they were talking about her, she's a pretty nice magician. So I think like she's pretty strong. Like she's one of the best casters probably out there. So, and he was able to resist her time stop ability pretty damn easily. So yeah, I think like he has like a way higher resistance than pretty much any other servant that I've seen thus far. Now let's talk about his archery. That's awesome because of the fact of that he has an ability called Hawkeye, which can pretty much make him like shoot with pinpoint accuracy over 4 kilometers long. 4 kilometers or 4 meters, I forgot. I think it's 4 meters. No, 4 kilometers. So basically he's able to shoot pretty much with pinpoint accuracy. Doesn't matter if the tiger is moving, doesn't matter how fast it is, he can hit it from 4 meters away. That's pretty dope. And he can also change the trajectory of his arrows, which is amazing. And can you imagine pinpoint accuracy while shooting broken phantasms? That's crazy. That's OP as hell. And he's pretty much one of the few servants that can pretty much use broken phantasms without having their noble phantasm disappear forever. But so basically, let's say Saber, when she was fighting Berserk, if you would have used Excalibur as a broken phantasm, that's probably would be strong as hell. Like that probably would be freaking devastating. It might even take all of Hercules' lives, maybe. But if it doesn't, and it only leaves him with like 1 life, or doesn't finish off his last life, then she's pretty much screwed, because now she can never use Excalibur again. So that's what makes Shiro so powerful, in that he can shoot this broken phantasm over and over and over and over and over again without running out, because he could just recreate them again. Also, another thing is that once he creates a weapon, once he traces a weapon, it's infinitely stored in his reality marble, which is awesome. It's amazing. I don't know how it works exactly. So basically, I have a little question. So if he shoots a broken phantasm, does that mean that weapon, because now the noble phantasm is gone, he shot it as a broken phantasm, so now that weapon is gone. So when he shoots it, is that weapon immediately restored into the reality marble? Like, it's instantly recreated into the reality marble without him having to do anything? So basically, does he only need to, I wouldn't say copy it once, but basically, does he only need to create it once? Because yes, he only needs to copy it once. Once he sees it, is pretty much saved. But once he creates it and summon it from the reality marble, is that noble phantasm immediately, once he summons it, replaced in the reality marble? That's a little question that I have about that. Anything else? I think that's it. I think that is it. Yeah, I think that's it. This video was really interesting. I liked it a lot. I think next I'll be doing Gilgamesh, so stay tuned for that. And that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you guys for watching. If you like my video, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a lot. I'm gonna keep making a whole bunch of these videos, so if you guys wanna are interested in that, please hit that subscribe button. It will really help me out a lot. As you can see in the corner, I did put a goal for myself to reach 200 subs by the end of the month. So if you guys could please help me out with that, I would really appreciate it. It will help me out a lot. So thank you so much, guys. For those of you who are already subscribing and already watching my content, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And that's pretty much it, guys. As I always say, have a nice day and catch you guys in the next one.